criticize her for that, it's perfectly fine for you to do that. Just bear in mind, he votes almost 100% of the time to support Donald Trump, who has not said a sane or rational thing in the better part of 2 decades. So just remember that, okay? If we're gonna invalidate people for giving bad answers to questions, there's nobody left in DC. Let's just be very clear about that. And also, did you notice what he did where he threw in, it's not enough to be like she had a bad answer to the question, but she's not exactly known for the policy. Yes, she is actually, that is 100%. I can name bills that she's sponsored. I can name policies she's championed. You know what I can't name? Kennedy's policies, something big that what's like the marquee issue Kennedy cares about and has worked during the better part of the 80 years he's been in office. Does anybody know? He goes on Fox News a lot. Is that a policy? Kennedy? Anyway, JR, what do you make of this? Final thought.
He's part of the Foghorn Leghorn Act that he passes every time he speaks because he thinks his hokey way that he talks is something that gets people to really give a damn. Or the fact that his last name is Kennedy. And I guess enough stupid people see that and vote anyway. He's also the guy who stumbled into asking Kash Patel about his lies of whether or not Epstein trafficked young girls to anyone else. And he said, according to everything I've got, that's what it is. It's just Ghislaine and Patches Patel. It's just those two. He lied, but has Kennedy gone back on TV to talk about how incensed he was that he lied directly to his face about what is it they have in those Epstein files? Or has Kennedy now moved on to talking trash about anybody else because that's his job, that's his position? He probably apologized to Kash for doing that. I'm sorry for putting you in a position of having to lie to everyone's face, and then we discovered how much of a liar you really are. When is this guy gonna be done? I'm not sure when the next, the next time up is for him to then be on the ballot. But talking about eating people for a quick snack, I guarantee you anybody that can actually debate him, if he's willing to do it on a national stage, would make him look like a complete idiot because he does it by himself.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not saying that she should, but if there was a debate between Kennedy and Ocasio or Cortez, I think I know where I'm putting my money on that. Anyway, that is unfortunately gonna have to be all the time that we have. We unfortunately did not get to talk about the Elimination Chamber, the biggest sports thing that I'm weirdly not that interested in, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll have to talk about that offline. But JR, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. And where can people see more of your work?
As usual, at the watch list here, you guys can see it there. That's me. We did a watch party every day at noon. That's noon on the East Coast. That is right when we lead right up into John's show. That's why I'm always on time. That's why.
Obviously.
We'll see. You guys show up tomorrow. The chat is warm. They're nice people there.
Yes, definitely check that out. And then come over here where I'm gonna be doing a John solo show, which we've been having a lot of fun with recently. Hopefully you'll find it to be fun too. And either way, yeah, thank you for all your support, all the super chats everybody sent in. And for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. I'll see you soon.
fams, that music gets me fired up every single time. It gets me in the mood to talk that stuff. Welcome to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off, and boy, do we have a treat for you. I'm Sharon Reed. That's not the treat. Let's pop her up. SNT, Senator Nina Turner, who is just my soul sister. I love you, Senator. I adore you. Look at that. Okay. And she popped up, about a minute or so ago. You know, Senator's very busy. She's very busy doing the people's work, never stopped. And she said, "Oh, I apologize. I'm a little late." I said, "No, you're not. Always on time. You're right on time." Wasn't that a little Ashanti hook? Oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to charge us for it. That was well, she's still in her heyday. We love you too, Ashanti. Got her man finally, didn't she? Okay. Yeah. That's what you want? Then go for it. I love good Black love is all for it. All love. I'm for it. Yeah. Let people love one another, SNT. Why are people so bothered? Somebody wants to love over here, love over there, let them love. Okay. Yeah. The world would be a better place if people would just let more love in. Amen. Instead, we got to begin with this, Senator. Okay. Because this is the opposite. It is the opposite of love. No matter what. We may not know all the details, but I do know that. A Black man found hanging from a tree inside an Atlanta park. Another young Black man has been found hanging from a tree. This was last week, this time in Marietta, Georgia. There you see the young man's picture. Police have swiftly ruled it as a suicide. I know what you're thinking. I'll give you as much as we have on this one. 21-year-old Kyle Basinga found hanging in Fair Oaks Park, Atlanta. Now here's what Cobb County police are saying. Officers were called to Fair Oaks Park, 1465 West Booth Road, around 9:46 a.m. after receiving a 911 call about a dead person in the wooded area of the park, February 18th. Police said witnesses reported seeing him enter the wooded area alone on Valentine's Day, about 4:28 p.m. Detectives found no evidence indicating that anyone else was involved, no signs of foul play, according to police. 11 Alive, the local news outlet with the details, assisting in the reporting. Now, we do want to make this note. The park, it's about 30 miles away from his school, Georgia State University. Cobb County authorities say they're continuing to investigate the case, and they're awaiting the medical examiner's final autopsy. Now, Kyle had reportedly been missing since Valentine's Day. His body was found February 18th. Missing persons posters up. A few months ago, Basinga posted, though, an encounter with a police officer who illegally checked his ID without stating a legitimate reason. We do want you to watch this.
Treat me like I'm some crazy ass, bro. A random car drives behind me close like that.
What?
Bro, look where you are. I was on the sidewalk right here. You was driving close to me, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you again to chill out and stop screaming and don't get in my face, okay? That's the last time you're gonna get in my face.
I'm not even close to you right now, gang.
Okay.
Just give me my I can go about my business. Cause this is low-key illegal what you just did. You just checked me for no reason. What was your reason for getting my ID?
You said you were a student, so I asked your parents.
No. What was your initial reason?
Policy?
Cause you see my hoodie. I have a Georgia State hoodie on, bro.
Right.
What was your reasoning? Did I commit a crime? Did I commit? That's what I'm saying. Thank you. You seen that? Thank you.
It's okay, man, because we got cameras all around here, so you can
I don't
see.
know what he done. I just saw you look like you were
Driving close.
Do anything.
I didn't do anything.
Right.
So hold on. You don't have no reason to get my ID, right? I'm not doing anything.
Actually, you are a student here, which is what I asked.
With a Georgia State hoodie on?
Right.
So you just go around asking random kids, "Are you a Georgia State student?" Even a kid with a Georgia State hoodie on?
So my heart's already broken because he's gone. And now it's broken because we lost a future leader. Everything he said in that footage right there, to me, a layperson, not a lawyer, made sense. Is it related? No, we're not saying that. I don't know, but we wanted you to see more. He felt enough to post it, so we showed it to you. How about the family? They've spoken out. According to 11 Alive reporter Chase Hull, who spoke to Basinga's family. They're not focusing on speculation that his death may have been foul play. The quote, right now, online speculation is the least of our worries. We're focused on burying our son, and I'm happy to have found him, the family said. The Griot helping out with the reporting. Community members, they're skeptical, though, that this is being investigated as a suicide so quickly. Why not take a beat and let's see where the evidence takes us? That's what some are saying. 4 days after Basinga was found in the park, people visiting that have been there before said they're still searching for answers. They need to know more. One resident told 11 Lives, Safenik Pinnock, somebody had to see something, somebody had to hear something, and everything and everybody is just quiet about it. Adding that while anything is possible, do I believe throughout the history of this country that that young Black man did that to himself? I'm going to say no. Gerald Rose with the New Order National Human Rights Organization said the case felt personal to him. I have to say something because this is my backyard, he said. I can't be an activist and something just took place in my own backyard and not say nothing. We all do understand that we don't know what happened, Rose said. It's just the fact that something did happen. The young man lost his life. And we just want to make sure we get to the bottom of this. There's that. Now, the death of Kyle Basinga comes in the midst of 2 lynchings within the last few months. I'm just checking the calendar. It's 2026, and we've now said 2 lynchings in recent months. Last week, Dr. Ritchie reported on 39-year-old Tony Medley found hanging at a golf course in Wisconsin. There's also DeMar Travion Trey Reed, also found hanging from a tree at Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi, September 2025. Both police departments ruled these deaths suicide. Seems like a terrible way to go. And I know that people do take their own lives, some by hanging. But these seem to be mysteries. I've not heard about underlying mental stress. I've not heard that. It could be there. I'm just telling you, that's not front and center. The police haven't, as they ruled this latest a suicide, said anything about that I know of. Senator, it's personal to all of us, especially of a certain hue, when we have these things come to light, because too often throughout the course of history, the Black man's certainly not been valued. And when a Black man disappears or dies in ways that seem suspicious, at least requiring more explanation, more investigation, it does not seem to always, too often, be done.
No, you definitely hit the nail on the head, Sharon. The suspicion around how this 21-year-old Basinga died. And Black people are right to be suspicious. And it happened in the South, which raises the level of suspicion. And from a historic perspective, definitely the Black man has lacked the type of respect, the type of love, and the type of dignity as a group that they absolutely deserve. You know, Sharon, I'm thinking about the song that was sung by, I'm not sure if she wrote it, but Angie Stone, God rest her soul too. You know, she made that song, Brothers, you know, Black brothers, I love you. I'll never put anyone above you. And, you know, that is such an anthem and such a beautiful song to Black men who are so often been disregarded and dehumanized in ways that are cruel. And, you know, Black women are right there side by side. But when you live in a society that is male dominated, that has a patrilineal or a patriarchy type mentality, you know, Black men are often crushed under this, you know, even more than anybody else. So as a mother, you know, he was only 21 years old, and you could hear his, I won't call it desperation, but just kind of, it's grating to be Black in America. James Baldwin, one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century, once said, to be Black in America and to be conscious is to be in a rage all the time. Now I'm paraphrasing him. I might not have a word for word, but I got the gist of what he was saying. And that is true. If you are conscious, you are in a rage because you already know how this country, the land of your birth, how it feels about you and how it treats you. And it's these macro and micro aggressions that we endure every single day that, it's just one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. And you can hear his frustration, Sharon. I've heard that frustration many a time all over the country from Black people when it comes to their encounters with law enforcement. And I want to share with our audience, lynching is a particular type of killing. So you're right. And the article that was written is absolutely right. We don't know. They're still investigating, but it definitely sounds awfully suspicious. Black people don't often hang themselves. That's just rare. Not that, and suicide rates are up among men and Black men in particular, check. But usually Black people not hanging themselves. So we too will wait for the investigation, but we got to draw this out from a historical perspective. So I want to share something from the NAACP website, National NAACP, and I encourage people to read more about this. But, in the 19th and 20th century, lynching was used by white supremacists. It was a way to terrorize Black people, keep Black people in line. Now notice 19th and 20th century, so well after slavery ended in this country, this is how those who subscribe to white supremacy, they use lynching as a mechanism to control Black people, to scare Black people. And during that time, from 1882 to 1969, there were almost 5,000 lynchings in the United States of America. And most of those lynchings were of Black people. And you can go and look at some of the pictures. People who engage, and not saying that that's the case. In this case, there is a however here. We always have to be extra sensitive and extra guarded when folks are saying Black folks hung themselves as a way to kill themselves. And the thought processes of how y'all come to that conclusion so quick. So we got to write the suspicion, Sharon. I'm gonna put Professor Turner in the parking lot for now. My heart goes out. I know our heart go out, Sharon and I, and the entire TYT family, indisputable team, to his family. So young, young to be.
Well, Professor Turner, Mother Turner, Senator Turner, we need the hybrid. We need all of them right now. Okay. Yeah. And you're right about that extra part. Well, damn it. You owe it. You owe it. This could very well be what they've ruled it, but you owe it to us to do a thorough investigation, a real one, not a rush, nothing like that, but a real one to get to the bottom of this one. And I heard it too, Senator, the PTSD of just breathing, walking while Black.
Yes.
And the indifference of that officer. I'll give you the last word.
Yes, no, you said it, the total indifference. And there's not a sensitivity to Black pain because in this country, Black people are not supposed to feel pain. Let me pull Professor out again. Some of the experiments that were done on Black bodies to test our pain thresholds, as if we don't feel the same level of pain, pretending like we have a higher level of pain threshold than let's say white people. All these morbid ways of experimenting on us because we are Black. A lot of that stuff is carried over into even this very moment. There are studies that show even in the medical profession that if there's not an extra sensitivity, some medical staff treat Black people as if our pain, our claims to pain are just nonsense. You may recall, let me talk about maternal health for a minute. Extra famous and beautiful people like Beyonce and also Serena Williams, by way of example, talked about what they went through, in terms of childbirth and telling medical teams how they were feeling at the time and how they were just, put off. Imagine those two women have access to money and power. Imagine the types of women who do not. And the Black maternal death rate is higher than those women in what we would call non-industrialized nations. So that's just an example of many examples that we could give how systemic anti-Blackness, a particular type of racism and bigotry permeates every system in the United States of America. So unless we have people, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, somebody that's in a boardroom, if we don't have people who consciously deconstruct their construction, those types of feelings about Black people permeate into systems. And then you get this type of othering or different treatment of Black people that no other group has to face. And it is all rooted back into chattel slavery and anti-Blackness in the United States of America. It doesn't just go away because this is the 21st century.
They'll never stop telling the truth. S&T. If you are fortunate enough to be able to get yourself examined, go to a gynecologist, you better thank a Black woman who was forced to lay on a table, no anesthesia, as they cut her open and explored her womb. That's what happened in America. That's what gave us the modern technology that is still not finding its way to too many people of color today. We're going to move on to this one, and it's not getting much better. Cops fatally shoot a Black man in the back while he was on his stomach. First, I want to show you the police released body cam footage of the shooting. Watch.
Get on the ground! Hands up! Look, hey, show me your hand! He's reaching! Grab his right arm. I need you to grab his right arm. Grab his right arm. I got the dog. Dog's good. Hey, dog's right arm. Right arm. Stop reaching, man. You're going to get shot. Hey, he's got a gun in his hand. Let him go. Let him go. Drop the gun. Drop the gun.
Didn't really tell much, right? It's all happening so fast. That is the chaos that is a police officer's job. They get one thing wrong, they won't go home tonight. All true. What if there was another angle? What if there was more we could show you? Maybe there is. There is. Here's the bystander version from a different angle. Watch.
And then I'm gonna grab the thing. He on his stomach, both hands behind his back. He's not. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Just a modern day Emmett Till. They literally, when I say they executed my son. They shot him in the back of the head. And while they had his hand tied behind, while they were all holding both his hands, they shot him in his hands. And that's only two of the shots. They executed my baby. They held his hands behind his back. They shot my baby in the back of the head, y'all, while they were holding his hands. But he's in heaven. His brains literally were laying on the ground yesterday when I went to where they shot him.
Another Black mother. She'll never be able to unsee that, and she'll never hold, as she said, her baby again. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Two contrasting videos of a deadly officer-involved shooting in Grand Rapids have emerged, showing different perspectives of the incident that killed 26-year-old DeQuayne Johnson. Happened on Wednesday. Johnson was a father, another baby on the way. His aunt, Elizabeth Elliott, told ABC 13 News, quote, "He was a good dad. He took care of his kids, provided the best he could. He was a young man trying to find his way like most people. But that doesn't deserve to be slaughtered in the streets like that by the police," Elliott said. "My sister's on her way to have to bury her son and identify her son. What mother should have to do that? So if anybody out there, the best thing you could do to help our family right now, pray for us. Pray that we all get all answers, that it will be clarity, transparency from start to finish. Grand Rapids police released 3 body and dash cam clips Thursday afternoon. That was hours before community activists shared their own video footage during a press conference. Shooting occurred in an apartment complex parking lot near Eastern Avenue and Martin Luther King Jr. Street. Police said the incident began after officers received a report of a potentially armed man on a bicycle. When officers attempted to make contact, the man fled, leading to a pursuit that ended, as you saw, in the deadly encounter. Video released by activists shows Johnson on the ground with the canine and officers above him during the struggle. Community members say this footage reveals what actually happened. Johnson's mother, who was present for the vigil and during the news conference when the cell phone video was shared, expressed her anguish and demand for justice. Quote, I saw somebody laying on their stomach with a dog on their back and 2 police officers behind them, and then I watched them shoot my son 4 times, she said. She said she hasn't been able to see her son, that police didn't share their video with her first. Interesting. I do pray that the 2 men that stood over my son's back look me in the eye and tell me why they shot my son, Johnson's mother said. What about the chief? His name is Eric Windstrom, and here's what he says. Officers deployed a police canine to subdue Johnson in a non-lethal manner. Fail, epic fail. But a struggle continued. Did it? In the police footage, an officer can be heard saying, he's got a gun, before shots are fired. Johnson was taken to a hospital, declared dead Thursday morning. Police recovered a handgun from the scene. This is the police account. The involved officers are on administrative leave per department protocol, and Michigan State Police investigating the 2 officers who were involved in the shooting have obtained legal counsel. Well, they're alive to defend themselves. Good on them. They're still here, and they can actually be alive to hire legal counsel that the union's probably paying for. And I don't have a problem with any of that. Why did I go out of my way to say that this is the police account? Because we've seen too often that the police account was not accurate, or worse, a lie. We've seen it happen too many times. We've heard those in uniform screaming, gun, gun. Hell, we just heard that in Minneapolis, didn't we? As they stood over and executed a nurse. What does that mean? I wish the chief would have waited before giving the official police account. Let's get to investigating here. Here we go again. Senator Turner, another mother, slow singing and flower bringing, and a young man, a young father, is dead, executed in the streets.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, was trying to keep the tears back to see that mother, to hear that mother say that her son was executed. And a police dog wasn't enough. Multiple police officers on the scene wasn't enough. Him being flat on his stomach, face to the ground, wasn't enough for them. They still felt like they had to use deadly force against this young man. This happens far too often when it comes to encounters with law enforcement and Black men. So again, there's a pattern here. And it's a generational pattern. This just doesn't start happening. What we have in the 21st century that our forebears didn't have, or generations ago, everybody didn't have a camera in their hand everywhere that they go to be able to document this. Black people have been crying out for a type of justice in this country for a very long time, revealing the racial bias, the anti-Black bias within a legal system that sees Black people and treats Black people differently. Those are the facts. Those are not feelings. And finally now we got cameras, and it's a shame that we got to have video footage every time to justify our humanity. Think about that. Just think about that. This young man, Black people pay taxes too. So our tax dollars are going to far too many law enforcement agencies that do not see us as equal to them. Charles Carroll in the 1900s wrote a book called The Negro, a Beast. And his premise in that book, a lot of pseudoscience about whether or not Black people are equal humans. We're just gonna go ahead and break this stuff, some of this stuff down, Sharon, because people need to understand it. And it's Black History Month, so I'm just gonna take a little more liberty. I invite you to go and read and explore that book where Charles Carroll argued that Black people were just a little higher than the Negro, and that white people were made in the image of God. That pseudoscience type mentality has spilled over generations, even to this day, whether people are doing it consciously or subconsciously, into how Black people are treated. And the buzzword, stop reaching, stop reaching. They say that for the setup. They say that for the setup. So just in case, if the person did not have a weapon, they can clear themselves for immunity. Now, that's not to say that in some cases, some people do have something. And yes, being a law enforcement officer is a dangerous job, no doubt about it. But when a police dog and at least 2 other officers on the scene is not enough, when you got somebody on their stomach, face on the ground, if you are too scared at that moment to have that person that controlled, then you need another profession. Yeah. So my heart aches, Sharon. I'm telling you, I'm gut wrenching. And it would be one thing if this was only one time or every now and then, but it's so many times. Yet some white people can have weapons right in their hands or knives right in their hands, and they get brought in alive. And I'm not advocating that white people are treated like Black people. I'm advocating that Black people are treated like white people.
Wouldn't that be great?
God, doggy. I'm telling. See, that's a macroaggression y'all just saw, and so Black people endure this, multiply this. This is at the hands of the state, and when I say the state, I mean federal. I mean not federal, but government itself. At the hands of people who are there supposedly to protect and serve. Anyway. Yeah.
No. I want you to, I'm going to give you the last word, but I want to say this to people out there saying, well, he was on parole. He had a prior conviction for possession. Okay. Ma'am and sir, didn't nobody know that when they started getting that was after the fact. Nobody knew that. Do you not know that you can carry a weapon in Michigan? And sure, there's rules. But that in and of itself doesn't mean, what? They did not know the status, so let's stop right there. I saw somebody get on the ground. I saw him get on the ground. He was on his stomach. I'll give you the last word, Senator, but it's so traumatic, and why we have to beg you to believe us that the police are doing things to us. Not every time. Not in every case. Let's wait for the investigation here, unlike what the chief did. But I told you what they're doing. Why do I have to keep proving it to you with my blood?
That's right. Judge, jury, and executioner is not supposed to happen. Theoretically, that is not supposed to happen. But what we see in practice far too often is this. And we cannot become desensitized to it. Because Black people endure this at different and higher levels than any other group linked to systemic or institutional racism or biases that are wired in the American psyche that somehow Black men are more criminal than anybody else. And that is just not true. And law enforcement has a special responsibility, especially when you got a police dog and several other, at least 2 officers on the scene. Again, if you are still scared when you got the police dog on the scene, at least 2, again, you got to find another profession.
You're not built for this. You're not built for this. Well, it's a story we're going to keep following, Senator, and I just appreciate your comments and the fact that you keep reminding us that what Black men in particular have been branded throughout the course of history in America is not representative of the facts. Keep giving us the facts. Now, disclaimer before we get into this next one, I do have a personal bias. It's against any man with pretty hair who likes to play in my face. There's something about him. A pretty man, pretty hair, playing in my face. I have, it's a reaction I can't control. And I wish the California governor who wants to be president would realize that when he brought his little butt in his custom suit to Atlanta. You not here. They say it's not a real place. Well, it got real and it's about to get more real. Okay. Pretty hair, custom suit, saying absolute nonsense. And you're not going to tell me and blame this one on conservatives. We'll get to them another time. This was all you, baby. You said all this. And now I can't see you. I can't see past anything else because of it. We'll see if it changes. Gavin Newsom makes a questionable statement to ATL crowd. And there's the Atlanta mayor, legs crossed, daddy long legs. Ha, 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 ha. What are you laughing at, mayor? I didn't appreciate it one bit. I didn't appreciate it. What am I talking about? Well, we'll show you. It's going viral over the weekend. Watch this.
You know, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And, you know, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, you know, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
I'm going to give you everything, I promise. He wouldn't play in my face like that and get a courtesy laugh. He would not get it. I don't give courtesy laughs when you have racist moments, coded moments. Were you trying to kind of code switch a little bit? I think you tried to. I think they reminded you ahead of time, don't, watch the way you phrase certain things. You don't want to be accused of code switching. But that comes in many forms, varieties. I don't like it one bit. And hey, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe I just was in a bad mood when I saw it. But I didn't appreciate it. Let's give you the details. According to Newsweek, Newsom spoke candidly about living with dyslexia and his struggles with reading during a conversation with Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens at the Rialto Center for the Arts in Atlanta on Saturday evening. It looked like they enjoyed themselves. He's selling a book. After Sean Hannity reacted to the video, writing Gavin Newsom thinks a 960 SAT makes him, quote, like Black Americans. Let that sink in. Now I got to agree with Sean Hannity. Now you got me in a position I have to agree with Sean Hannity. Newsom would reply to Hannity writing, you didn't give a S about the president of the United States of America posting an 8 video President Obama or calling African nations assholes, but you're going to call me racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia? Spare me your fake effing outrage, Sean. And now you're talking about whataboutism. And that's not what he criticized you about, the dyslexia part. That is a nice try. But I saw through it. Even without my readers on, I saw right through it. Give you more. Newsom News social media account posted a video showing a diverse audience. The Blacks were okay with it, with a significant number of attendees white. Everybody loves you. What does this mean? What does this mean? It's not enough for me. In defense of the statement, Newsom's press office wrote, why do Republicans always play the race card? The governor told Charlie Kirk the same thing, literally more than a year ago. Did he? Did he actually say the same thing? Because the team's so great, I'm sure if I call for it, they'll play the clip.
Started 960 SAT. I asked you about your SAT.
I don't
You said,
even know. I took the ACT.
You took the ACT, which proves two things, how young you are and how different things were. You were an...
All right, so Sharon, you've gone too far. Now, I don't think I did, but let's say I did. What's fair is you have to compare the total record. Let's see what the man has been up to. Okay. And that's what we're going to do to be fair here regarding racial issues. Let's go to 2021. Governor Gavin Newsom signed legislation creating a system to decertify peace officers for serious misconduct. Governor also signed legislation increasing transparency of peace officer misconduct records, improving policing responsibility and accountability guidelines, raising eligibility standards, banning harmful restraint techniques. Okay. How about 2 years later, 2023? Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill banning caste discrimination. California lawmakers voted 31-5 last month to approve the first statewide bill explicitly banning caste discrimination. Advocates had argued the bill would protect people of South Asian descent who had been treated unfairly. Mr. Newsom said the state already banned discrimination based on religion, origin, other characteristics. Because discrimination based on caste is already prohibited under these existing categories, the bill is unnecessary, he said in a statement. Caste system in India, which dates back more than 3,000 years, divides Hindu society into rigid hierarchical groups. Okay, 2024, what's he up to? Governor Gavin Newsom in September 2024 signed an official apology for harms caused by slavery and hundreds of years of discrimination against Black Californians. Newsom also approved a handful of other bills enacting policies developed by the state's reparations task force, which he helped create 4 years ago to address issues such as maternal health disparity. Politico filling in the details, and the BBC before that. 2025, Newsom delivered a mixed bag. In October that year, for proponents of bills aimed at addressing the state's legacy of racist and discriminatory policies against Black Americans, he signed a law authorizing $6 million for California State University to study how to confirm an individual's status as a descendant of an enslaved person. But then he vetoed other bills the California Legislative Black Caucus championed as tools to atone for the state's history. AP with that reporting. One of them would have authorized public and private colleges to give admissions preference to descendants of enslaved people. Another would have required the state to investigate claims from families who say their property was taken by the government unjustly on the basis of race through eminent domain. Well, we know that happened in California a lot. Third would have set aside 10% of the money from a loan program for first-time home buyers for descendants of enslaved people. Absolutely necessary. But Newsom called the bill unnecessary, saying colleges already have the authority to make such admissions decisions. Well, we know that. What have they done with it over the course of history, Governor? Perhaps I am going too far. Lots of people, Senator, can misspeak. You and I both know that when we're speaking live to camera, live in front of an audience, you're not perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect. And so why are you being so hard on Governor Gavin Newsom, Sharon?
You are not.
Hey, if you want to be my president one day and you're the governor of the largest, what? It's got the economy of bigger than most countries. I need you to be better than this. But I want you to, don't spare my feelings, Senator. I want you to go after me, correct me. Go ahead.
No, Sharon, you're absolutely right. So I love how you the premise that anybody can make a mistake. We do live TV all the time. You are the expert in it. This is your vocation. And certainly I've had my share of being live, and baby, you can't take that stuff back. So I get it. This isn't, however, I'm glad that the team, we played what he said in the ATL and we played what he said with Charlie Kirk. He didn't say, I can't read. I'm just like you. You know what? Black Jesus with the sandals on. No, matter of fact, I need black baby Jesus in a manger with the swaddling clothing on. The dude is too slick, Sharon. So you already laid that. See, he's slick. And he think he can bring that stuff to the South. He can't bring that stuff to the Midwest and places like Ohio where we rock and roll. Let me tell you something. It's like when Secretary Clinton said on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, the God, and the team, I got hot sauce in my purse. If you have to try that hard, then that's the problem. You want to try to be down. That's the problem. And that's where he got, it's one thing to say, you know, I got dyslexia, I overcame it, you know, like anybody else who may have a learning challenge or learning
Look
disability.
how easy that is. Look what you just said. That would resonate.
Yeah. No, like, you know, he could say, let me tell you something. I understand. And I'm no different from anybody else that has a learning challenge or a learning disability. But for him to be in the ATL and use different language than what he used with Charlie Kirk, that is a problem. It is racist. And let me tell you something, Sean Hannity, who I rarely, if ever, never agree with, was absolutely right. A broke clock can be right twice a day. You know, when you said that whataboutism, I wrote down, I know you are, but what am I? You know, that was, that's what I heard him saying.
Can you believe it? Even Hannity, blind squirrel can find a nut sometimes. Damn it, if he didn't eat, he feasted on that. But you did it.
He did it. He absolutely did it. And instead of him apologizing or recognizing, now you want to go ahead and blame the Republicans. Republicans got their own stuff. They don't need Democrats piling on. And then you read his record, Sharon. So for people who are falling in love with the slick hair and he tall and he got the look and he can win, the man is empty. He goes one. Not only all that stuff, Sharon, that you read, because I had reparations down there right now, number one on. But the man ran, when he first ran for governor, said that he was going to push for and ensure that California had universal health care, Medicare for all. I was in the room when the nurses endorsed his behind, and he turned on that right away. Just so slick about it. No universal health care. The state of California is controlled by Democrats, not controlled by the GOP. Another thing this man has done. Partisan gerrymandering mid-decade is wrong. I don't care who is doing it. So because Donald J. Trump is doing wrong, he wants to do wrong. So he championed this whole big idea about, since Donald J. Trump is doing it, President Trump, then we're going to do it too and put something on the ballot and convince Californians that that was okay. You cannot allow politicians to pick their elected officials, and you can't do wrong for wrong and try to make it right. And thank God there are other states and other legislatures where Democrats have an advantage, where they're saying, no, partisan gerrymandering is undemocratic no matter who does it. And you know what he did, Sharon? He raised a whole bunch of money.
Well, Senator, he's and this may be controversial to people, but I call it like I see it. And that, I think it means you love Black people to call it like you see it. There's people who say, well, Obama is in his ear, and Obama loves Gavin Newsom. And so he wanted him to be the nominee. You know the reporting. When Kamala, and that whole thing was engineered and she got the nod and whatever. And he was very angry. Gavin Newsom, I don't care who it is, but you're going to come correct. And don't bring your butt to the ATL talking this nonsense and think it's not going to be called out. And maybe I'm going too far.
Not, Sharon.
The mayor sitting there, stop giving people these courtesy laughs when they play in your face. Okay?
I wish you were the one on that stage interviewing him. And listen, some people have a nervous laugh. So maybe it was a kind of in the moment, but just because the crowd is mixed or mostly Black or whatever it is, I don't care. People can be wrong. And a lot of times people are, when you have somebody of that kind of authority, they just kind of going along to get along. And it may not even process for them until hours later that this man
deserved a follow-up SNT. Yeah. I would have said, whoa, you can do it nicely. And perhaps that would have been nice. It depends if I was hangry or not. And I probably would have just said, you're not suggesting that, are you? It just required a little pushback, not a let's get along. Okay. I don't care how much gel is in his hair. We need to follow up on that.
This man should not be. Do you know, Congressman Ro Khanna is pushing for a billionaire's tax in that state. This man then jumped up and said he against it. Not only is he against it, he's going to work against it.
But he's just like us.
Everything you need to know. Do you know he personally went to a homeless encampment where unhoused people lived and felt like, as the governor of the state of California, he had to personally go down there and tear down some of the tents? That tells you all you need to know about this man. Governor Gavin Newsom does not have what it takes. He does not have the requisite empathy. Requisite empathy or love for the least of these, our sisters and brothers, to be the president of the United States of America. We don't need slick anymore. We need somebody that is going to stand up to the forces in this country that have it all and say that my only special interests are working class families and people in the United States of America. That's what we need. And baby, Gavin Newsom is not it.
Not enough clapping back at Trump in the world, just like us. I give money to unhoused people when I see them. Okay, I don't tear down their stuff to steal their stuff.
Yes.
But whatever, you're gonna have to answer for your own mouth. This is Indisputable. Dr. Richie has the day off. The wonderful, the beautiful, the incomparable Senator Nina Turner's with us. Much more to come. Stay with us.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to big pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor, or concern for whose toes we might step on, or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
Favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Frank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning, they seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has earned the day off doing important business elsewhere. And we have one of our favorite people in the world, Senator Nina Turner, is our special guest co-host today. And boy, is she bringing it. Always love the style, the glasses, even the flowers in the background. I mean, you've got that taste.
I always love being with you, Sharon. You
I just
always
love you.
I know if I'm a bad day and I'm on with Sharon, my spirits are going to be lifted.
Mine are lifted too. Look at that. You see how we do each other? And they say black women don't spare me that. Black women get along just fine. Unless you're trying to pit us against each other. Ain't never gonna happen here. Okay, I know exactly who I am. And she does too. Let's see what you all are saying about Gavin Newsom. It's a lot digging all up in that. Okay. Gavin, you may want to recalibrate. Okay. Let's see, TYT members first. Winter Scoop says, I'm not better than you. I'm dumb and can't read like you black people. That's the translation, is what some people had heard. Gavin Newsom in Atlanta saying, I'm just like you. I had a lower score. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what you talking about, brother? Who you talking to? Dragons don't know I'm not real bacon says, this is the guy the establishment wants in 2028 with allies like this. Who needs enemies? A legitimate question. Dex, Sharon and Senator Nina, win-win today. Ladies, please make sure to give your mind some downtime each day. Reporting all of this darkness cannot be good for your psyche. I thank you, Dex, for thinking about us. I love what we do here, and the mission is a beautiful one on this network, independent media. But thank you. The Black woman has a hard lift and a full-time job. It's actually more than that. It's a 24/7 job. But I know, senators built for it. I hope I am too. But it is a reminder to give yourself some grace. I think that's worth saying. Let's see, YouTube members. Mr. Steppy 69, welcome Sharon and Senator. It's our pleasure. Pleasure's ours. I want to give you another Gavin one, and then in the next round, I'm going to talk about the ruled suicide situation. Tyler Hackner 9731 says, I've got a black friend energy. Yeah, this is what it sounds like. Yeah. And that's why I didn't want any courtesy laughs for that. We have to protect ourselves in ways that non-Black and brown people are all too often not going to do. We have to call it out every single time. And it'll be up to you how you explain that. It's not for me to allow you to do this to us time and time again. If you want something from me and he wants our vote, he wants our support, then I demand, not want, not request, I demand some things in return. And this wasn't it. You stay your ass out of Atlanta. You do better. And I said what I said. I know what I would have asked him. All right, we'll get to more of your comments. We love our TYT family so much. You're also wonderful. Good people, loving people, truthful, honest people. Look, as you know, we do have an epidemic. It's been ongoing for really since the beginning of these United States of America. They only earned their nickname probably at this point. I don't know if it's been a dozen years, 10 years. They've been around forever. Okay. Just doing what they do. Love to name call. Have you ever seen what a monkey looks like? I don't think it looks like me. Okay. Even the cute ones. But this is what they're doing. Even at the happiest place on earth. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel great! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
We are next week.
Are you laughing, monkey? Are you laughing, monkey?
Don't touch me. Touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Your man's bleeding.
Your man's bling. Your man's bling. Your man's bling.
Karen's calling a black security guard a monkey and the N-word. Now, based on what I saw, they were at the zoo all right. But who was in the cave? Who should have been? Who was acting the part? And perhaps it's being too harsh on monkeys. Perhaps I shouldn't be so harsh on monkey type behavior. What I saw was inexcusable. Let's give you more details. Pulling out phones, doing what they do. Happiest place on earth. Senator, I guess I want to ask you about the security guard's reaction first. They were putting on a show and he laughed the whole way through it. And I don't think that negates the pain of the word and the weaponization of the word. He was looking at fools. These were fools, in my view. What say you?
Yeah, he didn't give into it. I mean, the way he handled it was brilliant. Not everybody can handle it that way. He just stayed focused. Your man is bleeding. Your man is bleeding. He totally ignored them, which made them even more enraged. And I think motivated them to act out even more aggressively towards him. But that was smooth. I couldn't have been as smooth as him. I tell you that. I would have been giving them what for. But I love how he did what we would call that reverse psychology he used on them.
Yeah, we would. And I don't know if this is relevant or even accurate, but I thought I was looking at Latina women, okay? And perhaps it's not even fair, okay? And a lot of people don't realize there's black and white Latinos. But here's what I know. Right now, and for the past several years, even more than normal, segments of the population are under fire and being targeted and being disappeared. And I can't understand why you would look at a brown and black brother or sister and behave this way. I can't understand at all, because here we are saying what's happening in an increased way. Not to say that Latinas and black and brown people have always been targeted, but in an increased way of late. We're saying that's not right. What's happening to you? I don't understand this kind of behavior. Like you are not part of a classified other downgrade in America. That's how they're looking at us. Why you would take on some persona and do this? You're the professor, Senator. Maybe you can make it make sense, because it just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, it's insanity on one part. So I understand how you say this don't make sense, because if you stack the thing up and who is put upon the most in such a negative way systemically, then it would be black and brown people. However, there's a thing called relative status that academics use. Other groups who have come to this country, even those who are born here who are not black, constantly are socialized in the same society that anybody else is. All of us are. And the socialization in the United States of America, whether it's explicit or explicit, there is a thought process that says that if you are not black, you're better than. And so it's up to people to deconstruct their construction, number one, and number two, to decide what side of the tug of war rope are you pulling on. I liken America to a tug of war. It's black liberation on one side and it's white supremacy ruling class on the other. Various groups from different identities, not just white people, name any identity group, has to decide, are they pulling on the black liberation side or are they pulling on the white supremacist ruling class side? And oftentimes, every other group, I'm not talking about conscious-minded individuals who will declare that because of the black struggle in America, all these other groups, especially other groups of color, have gained if it wasn't for the black American struggle. But for the most part, all of those groups internalize the hatred or the anti-blackness. And so they comport themselves like them Latina Karens. Somehow think they're better than Black people. That's number one. And number two, have adopted the same stereotypes and dehumanization that any white supremacist or a white supremacist ecosystem would say about Black people. They are only repeating Charles Carroll, the Negro or the Beast. They're only repeating the film Birth of a Nation by Griffin last name that President Woodrow Wilson played in the White House that showed that after Reconstruction, if you allow Black people to be elected and have power, that they're going to somehow tear up everything that white civilization has built. There's a scene in that movie that they have this white man in blackface chasing after a white woman, and she is so terrified that she jumps over the cliff to her death rather than to have a Black man, all of that stuff. So those Latinas in the 21st century, them, were playing that out. And trust, they didn't cuss at him. They didn't call him a giraffe. I mean, they cursed at him. They didn't call him a giraffe. They didn't get mad in another way. They pulled on the historic, painful dehumanization stereotypes that white supremacy would use against Black people. So again, what side are you pulling on?
That's the professor right there, damn it. That right there is the professor I was looking for. Because when you even uttered these Latina Karens, it's not congruent. This is incongruent, right? But you sure enough broke it down. And here I go with that. My favorite quote, because it speaks to what's going on still today. Lyndon Johnson. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Okay, it's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, they could have called him anything, but they called him the N-word and they called him a kid. I need y'all to riddle me this. Let that sink in. So it's not just white people who can be anti-Black. Anybody in this country can be anti-Black. And it's just even more stinging. I think that's what you're saying, Sharon, because you're looking at them like, hey, what? Really? You doing this? You playing this game? Yeah, they play it. They play, and then deconstruct your construction again and have a consciousness. Anybody can fall prey to pulling on the white supremacist ruling class side of the tug of war.
You have a family. We know you love your family, Senator. You want to be with them, but I'm taking you on the road with this lesson. Okay. Just let me tee it up for you. Because we need to do these talks in front of a live audience. My goodness.
Well, you and me, it would be beautiful.
I have chills. You've given me chills. Okay. But not all professors are built the same. I don't know what the hell this Nephilim credentials are. Okay. Where did you get your credentials? And should you still have them? New York College professor makes racist remark during a meeting. Here's the video that's been circulating.
Too dumb to know they're in a bad school. I mean, apparently Martin Luther King said it. Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore.
You see what I mean? What bubblegum machine is her degree out of? Let alone her degree, her humanity or lack thereof. See what's going on with this fool. Yep, you're indisputable. Smile. The woman who made the remark is confirmed to be Hunter College professor Allyson Friedman. You're the star of the show, Allie. Comment came during a hybrid meeting concerning the possible relocation or closure of 3 Upper West Side schools. On the call were parents, students, and teachers of these schools. Black students make up around 20% of the total number of students enrolled in schools across New York City. You in New York, sis, talking like this? What? As an 8th grade student from the Community Action School was speaking about not wanting to lose her school, the following remarks were made by Friedman, seemingly unaware that the meeting's participants could hear her. They're too dumb to know they're in a bad school, the voice said. If you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. There were a handful of words that WSR was not able to make out between the first and second sentence quoted above. She appeared to be referencing a comment made earlier in the meeting by the local school district's interim acting superintendent, Reginald Higgins. He had mentioned Carter G. Woodson, the scholar known as the father of Black history, who said, if you make a man think that he is justly an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. In the video of the Zoom call, the faces of several participants register shock. An organizer of the meeting can be heard telling the speaker, what you're saying is absolutely hearable here. You've got to stop. See, I want her to keep going. I want to hear more of what she actually thinks. Tell me more, Professor. Immediately after that, the video goes silent for 14 seconds. I'm sorry, sweetie. Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry. A woman then said to the child who finished her remarks with, we might not be able to have these safe spaces anymore, and we should be able to keep our school open. One attendee told ILTUWS that Friedman insinuated that students of color couldn't learn as well as white students and said the students should be taught to vacuum because they'll end up being cleaning people when they grow up. Attendee added that Friedman was immediately called out by 2 women, one of color, who were on via Zoom. Let's go to the damage control. During the February 10th CEC3 meeting, there was a discussion about systemic racism and educational equity with references to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the work of Carter G. Woodson, as well as school closures. Separately, during the meeting, as a parent, I was trying to explain the concept of systemic racism by referencing a historical example. Due to an inadvertent unmute, part of that conversation was captured. Allyson, don't lie now. Don't lie. Don't stop it. I'm sorry is all you can say, and I don't know if I'm ready to accept that even. Not this now we're too stupid to know what you really said and meant. It's a double whammy. My remarks were not directed at the student speaker. No, they were directed at Black people in general. We're good on that. And they do not reflect my beliefs or values. They do. Regardless of context, my words were wrong and caused real harm. My words were wrong and caused real harm. That's where you should, there's the start, there's the finish. Instead, you try to qualify it, Allie. I take full responsibility for their impact. You don't. And I am deeply sorry to the students, families, educators, and community members who were hurt. You're not. Look here. Let's get to the reactions. Local school district superintendent, Dr. Reginald Higgins. During our recent community education council meeting, an adult participant made comments that were racially offensive and rooted in anti-Blackness. Dr. Higgins wrote, these remarks demeaned an entire predominantly Black and Latinx school community, disrespected the student presenter, and caused real harm to those present. I want to acknowledge the deep hurt this incident caused, particularly to our Black students, families, and staff. Naming this harm directly is essential. Black students were targeted, disrespected, and made to feel unsafe in a space that should have uplifted and protected them. Thank you, Superintendent Interim. Remove the interim from his title, Higgins. You got it right. In an emailed statement to WSR about the incident, the Department of Education spokesperson wrote, New York City Public Schools does not tolerate discrimination. We take these matters very seriously, and the superintendent, as well as our Office of Family and Community Empowerment, are providing support to the district in response to this incident. Sunday morning, Hunter College sent its own statement to the RAG, saying it was aware of the abhorrent remark and incident, and that it was reviewing the situation under the university's applicable conduct and non-discrimination policy. Well, Hunter College and all colleges should be spaces where you can have safe discourse and disagree vehemently if you need to. Argue, debate, get after it. We don't all have to agree. And I don't know what we're talking about here. We're talking about a racist professor who got caught on an open mic and then lied about it and didn't take full responsibility despite what her statement said. Senator, what should happen next?
Doc, I don't know her entire history. There should be some kind of consequences and repercussions, whether that should be firing. I won't go that far to say, but there should be some consequences and repercussions to her comments, and also a survey of, is this the first time? There might be this may or may not be the first time, but let us find out. And then have some consequence up to firing. Although I'm not saying that she should ultimately be fired. I love how Dr. Higgins handled this, and also Hunter College, because Sharon, you and I both know sometimes when situations like this happen, they come up with these flowery remarks and we're in a full investigation. No, they got right at it. Dr. Higgins named that thing, and Hunter College did as well. And I'm shouting both out. As you were reading those facts as reported, it reminded me of the autobiography of Malcolm X. When Minister Malcolm X, in his reflections on his life, talked about being the only Black student in one of his class, in this class. And the teacher went around asking every student what they wanted to be when they grow up, basically. And when Minister then just Malcolm said, I want to be a lawyer, his white teacher told him to be realistic. You're good with your hands. You should be a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. That is what this professor had to say stoked up for me. And the fact that so many decades ago, Minister Malcolm, this book was written, Autobiography of Malcolm X, and yet the reflections, the ripples, the institutional ripples are still here in 2026, the 21st century. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And there's nothing wrong with owning a cleaning business. Nothing wrong with that. However, understand when that is brought to bear on Black people and Black people alone, you're relegating an entire community to how they were relegated on purpose, could only hold certain types of jobs on purpose, and denied the full ability to provide for their families in a variety of ways on purpose by a system that was never designed for us to be co-equals in the United States of America. Sharon, that is the hard fact. Faces at the Bottom of the Well. I recommend everybody read that book by Professor Derek Bell, a prolific law professor and one of the architects of critical race theory. In that book that he argues the permanence of anti-Black racism in the United States of America by design. We're seeing it, and he was absolutely right. Now, he didn't say give up, but he said, my.
No, you're right. I will say this. I respect you so much, including that you're not calling for the professor to be fired, but you want to learn more. That's who you are. No rash decisions here. I can tell you where I sit. And if you maybe have opportunity to get over to Hunter College, I think there probably will be a vacancy soon, or at least somebody who needs a mental health break. I'm very concerned about Allyson, because it's not just that she was spewing, in her own mind, thinking these things. She blurted it out. She couldn't even not blurt it out looked like about 20 some people on the Zoom, and she could not comport herself. So that concerns me greatly. I'm no psychologist, but that concerns me. This is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc took the day off with good reason. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put these two sisters on there. And he said, let them do what they do. And that's why we love you, Doc. Senator Nina Turner. We love her. Much more to come, including your comments.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to big pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT! TYT!
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Frank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. The wonderful Senator Nita Turner joins us today. I'm Sharon Reed. Here's some more of your comments about the ruled suicide, a young Black man hanging from a tree inside an Metro Atlanta park. Winter Scoop TYT member says absolutely no Black person would commit suicide via hanging in a tree. Sienna Hogaboom. One needs something to stand on in order to hang oneself, but no signs of foul play. And then remember, we showed you the video of this young man, his confrontation with a police officer and the indifference the officer showed him, demanding to see his paperwork, his identification, for no seemingly lawful reason. Gemma Lee says that's an awful amount of fighting spirit demonstrated for someone alleged to take their own life. Unless we get footage or receipts of his acquiring the suicide equipment, or at least some signed final message to loved ones, then I guess it was a homicide. And I'm not mad at you for saying, based on what you know, what you've seen, what's been reported, that's where you stand. Not mad at you at all. We need to know more. We don't need to know more about this one. It's self-explanatory. You're a pick-me. Is that old? Are the kids still saying that? You're a look at me. You're a groupie. You're a male groupie. That's appropriate too about this next one. You're not on the team, man. You're not on the team. And there's much work for you to do. So I don't know why you're over there on the taxpayer's dime. What am I talking about? Him, Kash Patel. He attends the Olympics using taxpayer money? The FBI director, Kash Patel, is under fire after he was filmed guzzling beer, celebrating in the locker room with Team USA hockey players at the Winter Olympics in Milan. His office said he was there strictly on official business. He flew on a taxpayer-funded FBI jet that cost an estimated $75,000. And then this is how he performed. Watch. Whose gold do you have on? You didn't lace him up. You weren't on the ice. This is not your miracle. Not yours. Sunday, February 22nd, Team USA won the gold medal in men's Olympic hockey. They beat Canada 2-1 in overtime. It was a thriller. The first men's gold since the 1980 Miracle on Ice. The FBI Director Kash Patel was in the locker room celebrating with the players. On X, Patel called the team champions, legends standing on the shoulder of giants. Looks like you're trying to stand on the shoulders. Again, you weren't on the ice. Why are you getting a Gatorade or beer shower? That's what people are asking today. There's another clip, too, from Team USA captain Dylan Larkin's Instagram Live. President Trump can be heard on Patel's phone suggesting Patel could help fly the team out for a White House visit. Patel reportedly responded in a slurred voice, "I got it, boss. I got it. I got it. I rested on it." Is this how you would talk to the president? Well, I guess it's whatever respect you command. So maybe it is how you would talk to this president. Maybe he likes it. 8 former FBI and Justice Department officials sent reporters a copy of the video we showed you, saying it was drawing outrage as it rocketed around FBI and DOJ circles. His office claimed this wasn't a personal trip. FBI spokesperson Ben Williamson said it was all business. Now look at his statement. This is the 4th public official event since Director Patel's arrival in Italy. And for those wondering, I have yet to receive any follow-up from CBS or MS Now, who purposefully misled people to think Kash was flying to Italy to hang out at the Olympics. Here's my opinion. Kash was flying to Italy to hang out at the Olympics. Just because you book some things along the way, it's on our dime. Williamson stated the trip was planned months ago, included partner meetings with Italian law enforcement, security officials, and meeting with U.S. Ambassador to Italy, Tillman Fertitta, meetings with Legat, their staff, U.S. consulate briefing on Olympic security. Okay, and here's what Patel wrote. For the very concerned media, yes, I love America. Nobody asked you about that. Didn't nobody ask you about that? And was extremely humbled when my friends, the newly minted gold medal winners on Team USA, invited me into the locker room to celebrate this historic moment with the boys. Greatest country on earth and greatest sport on earth. Okay, they're not your friends. You're the FBI director by default. Somebody gave you the job. Okay, you're not, that's why I use the word male groupie. And I don't mind groupies, but I love to say that because they're always looking at women saying, look at you. Who said you were important? You're not even a Kardashian. Why are you hanging around the team? That's what people are saying. What about Patel and his post to X back in July? I thought we forgot about this, huh? Kash. NHL announced its players could compete in the Olympics. And here's what he wrote. NHL agreed to let the boys play in the next Olympics this coming winter. First time in over a decade. Team USA, I'll see you there. Hockey stick emoji. So he told us months ago what it was. That's what he did. Wants us to believe this is just a coincidence. His official meetings happen to just fall within the same time frame. This is not true. Okay. What this trip is costing us. The estimated cost of the Milan trip alone, about 75 grand. Taxpayer money. FBI directors are required. We do have to mention they have to use government aircraft, but they must reimburse the government at the cost of a commercial coach ticket for personal portions, meaning taxpayers foot the rest. Senator, I'm sober. Okay, so I can clearly see what went down here. Okay, I'm thinking very clearly about what went down here and who's footing the bill for this foolishness, for this man who wants desperately to be part of this jock circle that he's not. And quite frankly, if he was not the FBI director, nobody on the team they probably wouldn't even know his name. Okay, they'd be doing their hockey thing and winning gold, and we're very proud of them. But this is crazy. And so is Kash. We're thinking that he's part of the boys.
Yeah, I mean, how do we know they know his name? We don't know that. Most people in that locker room probably do not know who that man is. Taxpayers deserve a full, and I mean a full and complete refund. And you named it right. Bunch of foolishness.
Foolishness. And the media is so concerned. I hope so. Guzzling beer over in Italy. Okay, look, sometimes as we entering another political season, are we ever out of season? You have to look at ads. You want them to be targeted. We want a targeted ad. I want it to hit home. And that's what makes me pay attention when there's a C ads across my screen. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If it's phony and fake and paid for by, oh, come on. Nobody's thinking about you. But if you got, the goods, if you get my attention, you might get my vote. I don't know. Illinois Senate candidate runs F Trump political ad. I want you to watch it.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
They said it, not me. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I'm proud to have lived my whole life on the south side of Chicago. I'm not scared of a wannabe dictator. I'm running for Senate to stand up to Donald Trump. I'll abolish ICE and hold Trump accountable for the crimes he's committed, just like they said.
Trump.
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 Vote Juliana.
That's why I approve this message.
And had a nerve to put a little Dr. Dre in his heyday beat on it too. That was catchy. You're going to remember this ad. And don't talk to me about, and I want my people to be more, buttoned up. This is what era we're in, folks. He's the one that was grabbing people so it just seems like the perfect ad for me. Why be so delicate? Illinois Senate candidate, Juliana Stratton. I need to give her a little rap name too. She's clearly brought a refreshing candor to the Democratic Party. And all this focus groups and stuff they did, they should just asked her. When asked about the ad, Stratton defended the ad in the debate, saying it captures exactly what people are feeling right now. They feel like, look at Washington. People aren't happy with what's happening in Congress. They're wondering why nothing is changing in their lives. Everything is getting more expensive. And here they are wondering, when are we going to stand up and not let this president just get away with what he's doing? And here comes the tired Republicans' reaction. National Committee had its own harsh words in response to the F Trump posture. You really think you should say one thing when this is the guy you're defending? Juliana Stratton is a defund the police radical who would rather let criminals run rampant than make Chicago safer. Republican National Committee spokeswoman Delaney Bomar said in a statement, charging the Stratton ignores crime. I bet you if we ask her, would she lock up Trump? She would. I bet you she'd be for prison on that one. Stratton is currently trailing the Republican Raja Krishnamurthy. Early polling in the race to replace retiring Senator Dick Durbin. Illinois primary scheduled for March 17th. I don't have a single problem with it, Senator, but that's just me. You have been duly elected to office. You're my forever senator. What say you about this catchy ad and the beat?
Well, the beat is everything. I mean, look, she's spicing it up. I think it has to go beyond the President Donald J. Trump. So the ad, I have no problem with this ad whatsoever. I want to take it a little further though. If in fact, the only thing is this is going to be made about Trump, we should have learned the lesson from 2020. That does not work. Democrats lost by making the race solely about President Donald J. Trump, who ran as a faux populist. So I want to separate whether or not this is a good, long political strategy for her to make it through the primary compared to the catchiness of it and giving it right back to the president the way he gives it out. I mean, it's catchy as heck. Yeah, and I will never forget this ad for sure.
Yeah, I love it, but I do hear you on that. We don't want to make the mistakes of the past. We have a governor out of the great state of California right now who's made it all about Trump, in my view. He's just constantly picking with Trump. And, if I want to see pigs roll around the mud, then that's what I'll buy my ticket and admit to that show. But when Americans have real problems, I need you to go ahead and get some of those solved for me. I don't know what your policy is. But we hear you, Juliana. And anybody, I will say this, and I'll give you the last word on this one, Senator, for the Republican National Committee, who has produced and stood by trash for quite some time to say anything about this ad and talk about she's anti-tough on criminals or however they phrased it. You're standing up for this guy from January 6th and years earlier. Last word yours.
They're conflating the issue. They need to have several seats, a few seats. They have not. Sometimes you just got to know when to be quiet. And on this one, they should have just kept quiet, but they couldn't help themselves because this is what they have to do. They're designed to be the pushback for the Republican Party. So people need to understand they are operating the way that they must. This is what they are designed to do. On the other side of that, the Democratic machine would be doing the same thing. But sometimes you just got to know. What did Kenny Rogers say in the song, The Gambler? You got to hold them.
That's right.
So yeah, that part. But oh my God, Karen Reed, it has been such a, I cannot believe.
I love you, Senator. And I meant what I said. You are, you're a jewel, you're a diva, you're a queen, you're brilliant. Frankly, you're brilliant. And you have the empathy and a tender heart to match your brilliance. So we appreciate you. Tell people what you're up to these days.
Well,
what you're
again,
not up to.
You have thanked Dr. Ritchie. I want to put mine out. We do it every single time because we love our brother. Putting the two sisters in the chair on his behalf today has been such an honor. It's always an honor to be with the indisputable family on TYT, no doubt. People can find me on Twitter at Nina Turner, on the gram, Nina Turner, Ohio. I am on TikTok. I'm on Threads. I am on all those other things. Go and find me. I'm there thanks to a wonderful, wonderful team that keeps me hip and fresh and in the know. And make sure follow my organization, We Are Somebody. Go to wearesomebody.org. We are somebody. Everybody is somebody. And we need a whole bunch of somebodies who believe in love and justice and peace, a radical love, a radical truth, and a radical care to join together to fight for what is just, for what is right, and for what is good. And Sharon Reed, you are all good.
Well, I appreciate you. Hunter College, you better call this woman and take out the other one who's doing no good. And you better get some SNT on the roster. This is indisputable. Thank you, Doc. Thank you to watching. I wish I could have got to more of your comments, but insightful as always. We appreciate you, and we hope you'll join us again.